Hi guys, thanks for joining me and welcome to this week's episode of Saint of the Week. So this week's saint is a really important guy. He's the patron saint of England. His name is St. George and he has 5 things that you need to know about him. Number 1, he wasn't English. We kind of have this view of St. George that he was an English soldier. He wasn't. He was born in Turkey, spent most of his life living in Palestine, and the major shrine to St. George is in Israel. Number 2, he almost definitely didn't slay a dragon either to save a princess. That story appeared hundreds of years after he died. And was designed to show a really important point, and we'll tell you about that in a moment. Number 3, the dragon isn't even the most fanciful story about St. George. Shortly after he died, when people started to venerate him as a saint, the Vatican had to release a statement basically telling people to stop making stories up about him, because stories began to emerge of tortures that he'd endured. Apparently, he was hit on the head until his brains oozed out of his head. He was forced to drink poison, he was torn on a wheel, and he was boiled in lead. And apparently, he endured all these things over a period of 7 years and survived them all. So the Vatican had to come out and say, guys, stop making stories up because no one's believing them and it's all getting a bit weird. Number 4, so if these stories weren't true, why do they exist? Well, St. George died a martyr. He was a Catholic and he was told to give up his faith and he chose not to. And people decided to sort of embellish that story and make it more grand to show George's fight against evil, to show that George was faced with a choice between doing what was right and doing what was wrong. And he chose to do what was right, even though it was really difficult and ultimately led to his death. And the story of the dragon is really symbolic of someone fighting the battle against evil. And that's what George did. He fought the battle against evil by choosing to follow Christ rather than following another path. Number 5, so St. George is really a phenomenal example of someone who chose the difficult path even though it was the right path. And he is remembered all across the world today. Not only is he the patron saint of England, but he's also the patron saint of loads of different places such as Portugal and Georgia. But his life story kind of loses its meaning when we think about dragons and saving princesses, because George is a really brilliant example of the importance of choosing the right path. And today, we're all called to do the same. Today, God has laid out a path for every single one of us, and we're called to follow it, even though sometimes following that path will be difficult. So this week, ask St. George for the strength to persevere in the path that God has laid out for you, and pray that you will continue to follow the right path just as St. George did. So thanks for watching. I hope you have a great week. See you again soon. Goodbye.